it's good to see you again. Today we're sitting next to a window that is sunny because it is still too far cold out to, casually sit outside. Unfortunately, it still is February. And I have a new microphone. Let me know if you prefer it or don't prefer it over the other. I love using both of them. Already I've been testing this thing out like crazy and I think it's great. And today we're talking about video games. Not just any video games though, we're talking about, well, not only are they my video games, but they are in fact the ones that I consider to be very rare and very valuable for one reason or another. I do have a lot more because I went on an eBay spending spree a few years back, so I have a stupid amount of stuff in this room. This shelf is a perfect example. So if we need to talk about more, we can, but for now we're talking about the very rare and exceptional ones in my library. First off, the box for this is not exactly rare on its own right. Oh, the sun's in the way. What's fascinating, you can see the signatures here. I got this signed by both the actors for Arthur Morgan and John Marston. If you don't know those guys, those are characters in the game. Roger Clark and then Rob Whitehoff. I don't exactly know how you say his name. There was a Red Dead Redemption convention here in my hometown, which is very rare to have anything like that. And the actors all came to do a Q&A, and then on top of that, a signing. And my friend waited in line with all of our copies to get it signed. We gave him all the money for it, and while we went and explored, he was a trooper and just went in there and got all our signatures. So unfortunately, I did not get to meet the actors. But if they ever come back, I'd like to do that again. Super cool that this is signed by both of them. I think it's a treasure. Since in the past year, I have become quite a large Legacy of Kain fan. This is the Soul Reaver remaster. There's 5 Legacy Kain games in total. They decided to remaster 2 and 3, as odd as that sounds, but they're called Soul Reaver 1 and 2, so it fits, and it's kind of its own story outside of the other 3 games. If you're into Zelda likes, specifically the 3D Zelda likes, these games came out on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 originally and are designed to be PlayStation adjacent, Zelda adjacent. The main difference being that these are exceptionally well written, based off Gnosticism. They're written by Amy something, and I'm not even going to try and say her name because I can barely remember it, but she's the writer of the Uncharted games. And I think these are far better written than Uncharted, mainly because they're going for something a lot more deep. Uncharted is just supposed to be fun. But anyways, let's take a look at this, shall we? First off, we just have it for the Switch. I got it for nothing crazy special here, but not a bad purchase at all. And then it also comes with a very cool steelbook case, which I am very, very happy with. And then we have the art book, The Art of Nosgoth. Oh, that was a fun little noise. I hope you got that. It is an exceptionally interesting art book here. If we can play this out, the art pieces in here are great. If you're a fan of this, this is awesome. If you're not a fan of this, I hope you still find it cool. Lots of in-game screenshots comparing the 2 versions of each game, the remaster and the original, as well as some concept art. If you're a fan of these games, this is definitely a good purchase that I highly recommend you do. Even if you're not a fan of these games and they intrigue you a little bit, I think this is a worthy purchase as it supports this franchise, which has been dead for a very long time, and I want it to continue because I love it. I love Zelda likes, I love puzzles, I love dungeons, I love vampires. characters, and I really love good writing, and this has all of it. And since I became a fan of Legacy of Kain, I was very happy to find the very first one for PlayStation, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain. Funny enough, the franchise name did not begin as that. This was a one-off video game, and then the subtitle became the franchise name, which is kind of interesting. So Blood Omen Legacy of Kain is the first. I found this just recently for $25 in mint condition. The disc is great and it plays well. I am very, very happy to have stumbled upon this. And let's see here if I can get this without a glare. Maybe not. The sun's too happy today. But it's cool. Moving on to Nintendo properties, we have the original Metroid Prime, which this is marked as $3.99. It is not that anymore. It is at least $50 on average. I adore this game. This is one of my favorite games on the planet. I've always found Metroid fascinating, and I'm a big sci-fi nerd. And to be able to hold this thing still feels kind of crazy to this day, because when I bought it, it was just a purchase and nothing more. And now it is kind of a holy grail. It also comes with the instruction booklet, which feels rather useless to have now, considering we have access to the internet, but that's not nearly as fun. That's convenient, but it's not cool. This is cool. From the adventure begins, getting started, and it gives you all of the info you could ever want on this game. If you've never played this game, I highly recommend just getting it on the Switch, because there's a really good remaster of it that I also own. That's not part of this collection, though. Yeah. Fantastic game. And actually, hold on. We have a few more things in this box. We have a Nintendo Power magazine ad. I have a few of these from back in the day. Not much though. And it looks like if you sign up, you get the Metroid Prime t-shirt. That's kind of cool. But also, I have no memory of what the hell this is. Confidential subject, Metroid. Yes. An ad for Metroid Fusion, which came out on the same day as Metroid Prime, actually, if you weren't aware. Metroid Prime was a bit of a gamble, being the first 3D Metroid, and Nintendo wanted to not upset all of the Metroid fans, so they made a traditional 2D one to come out on the same day as Prime. I wish game studios were as cool as they were back then. And what a surprise, we have Metroid Prime 2. This game I bought for $55. I was vacationing and was in a different place, and at that point I was like, I'm spending money anyways, I'm just gonna keep spending money. Never the good attitude to have towards finances, but every once in a while, it's what you gotta do. I've actually not played this game. I'm a big fan of Dread and Prime, as well as the original Super Metroid, actually, if you can believe that. But I've never played Prime 2, but I still have my GameCube, so one day I'm going to crack this guy open and check it out. Once again, we have an instruction booklet. We also have the receipt for when I purchased the game. Hold on. Did I just read that correctly? Did that say multiplayer? Am I insane? Multiplayer modes, including deathmatch and bounty mode. I did not know this existed. This is crazy. Overall, this is in pretty good condition as well. Also, the art style of this is incredible. I love science fiction art. This reminds me of the hacking things that Ed does on Cowboy Bebop, if you're aware of that. box felt like an event in and of itself. When I was a kid and I would buy games, not only was there so much on the back of the box, there's so much within it, and it felt heavy, like you're getting a full, complete experience right here. Obviously, new games come out where that is still the case, but it never feels like this. This is an oddball one that I'm sure almost anyone watching this has no clue about. Also, I'm taking these off. This is a collection of Planescape Torment as well as Icewind Dale. These are old CRPGs based off Dungeons & Dragons, and while I have not played Icewind Dale, I bought this first digitally for Planescape Torment because I heard that the writing was really good, and this became, depending on the day, my favorite game ever. I adore Planescape. The way I've heard it described before is if the cantina scene in the first Star Wars movie was an entire game to explore. That's the exact feeling that the game conveys. The writing is so good specifically because it, for me anyways, not only has great characters, but it mentions a lot about consciousness and the states of it, which is a very under-discussed topic and something that I'm interested in. I have books on there about it, and this game goes fully into it. It changed my life. I would not be the same person I am here today without this game in my life. And it's obtuse and convoluted, and the fact that I even got through it was kind of weird, but that was about 3 years ago now that I decided to play it, and my life has been better for it. And now we have yet another game that I played at the same time that, depending on the day, might be my favorite game ever made. And that is Dragon Age Origins. The very first Dragon Age game, and for those unaware, BioWare, the makers of this, as well as Mass Effect, were the makers of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. And they wanted to make another Baldur's Gate game, but without being attached to Wizards of the Coast, which are the people that run Dungeons & Dragons. They wanted their own setting. So, that's exactly what they did, and this thing is so cool. This is the symbol of the Grey Wardens, and then this is the iconic art red dragon with a Grey Warden, and it's Morgan, one of the best companions ever in a video game. And there's not too much in here other than, no wait, never mind, I take that back. 2 discs, the main game, as well as a bonus DVD to watch the making of it. And here we have the instructions, which the front cover of it has been ripped off. I don't know why. I bought this on eBay, and one of the things that this did not unfortunately contain was the map that comes with the game. If I bought this version retail, it came with a really cool map, and this did not come with that, but that's okay. This is a very basic table of contents book. Nothing too fancy here, but it does tell you how to play the game, which on console is kind of important. This is predominantly a PC played game, and playing it on console, like, you can just, wait, this probably isn't a good example at all, but this right here is, on PC, takes up your entire lower screen, and the fact that they stuffed it all right here is impressive, but also makes playing the game actually kind of difficult on console. With that said, if you play this on a modern Xbox with these discs, there's a FPS patch, and you can play the game at a much higher frame rate, which is really nice. I adore this game. I adore each and every one of the characters in it. The inspiration for this was Lord of the Rings as well as Game of Thrones, and this came out a few years before Game of Thrones, actually, the TV series, but it's based off the books, and you can tell the characters are very inspired by the King Alistair in this game, or can be King depending on your choices. It is very clearly based on Jon Snow, as well as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. I adore this this game. It means the world to me. When the camp theme plays, when you go to the camp, I almost cry. I'm going to be honest with you. It is so beautiful, and depending on the day, again, it's might be my favorite game ever. This is a big boy. This is the collector's edition for Halo 3, which I bought for $19.95 a few months ago. The only thing this is missing is the ginormous Master Chief helmet, which they just weren't selling with it. But this is the complete Halo 3 Collector's Edition box, as far as the actual game is concerned. I don't know how many of you have played Halo 3, but I'm hoping many of you have, because as far as shooters go, it's undoubtedly, I think, the best console shooter game, especially if we're talking about multiplayer. Single player, I think Halo 2 probably outbeats this one by quite a bit, but it's a little dusty. I need to shake that off. This thing is an absolute pain to get open, so I'm going to leave it as is, but there's a little workbook in here and multiple discs. And it looks so pretty, doesn't it? Maybe I need to take this off, but the fact that it was $20 makes me want to leave it on just so I always remember that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Next up, we have my favorite horror game ever. This is Silent Hill 2. The original, not the remake. I've actually not played the remake, although it does look cool. I'm not anti-remake, although I think there's definitely too much of them coming out nowadays. This one is interesting because it has Xbox extras, if you can see that, which includes additional player character, Maria, more secrets revealed, new areas, weapons and items, and enhanced graphics and lighting effects. Back in the day, you could market graphics on the back of the box. Now is a big deal. Now I just kind of expect that the graphics are going to be a good thing. When I first played this game, I beat it in one day. I felt like I needed to experience it, and it's a tough game emotionally to get through. And I was already in the mood for it, so I'm just going to keep going. And I stayed awake into the night on a Halloween night, I believe. Playing this as 4 years ago, if I remember correctly. Here it is, the booklet that has a very unique art piece that I do not believe is found within the game itself, at least not gameplay. I think this might be in a cutscene at the very beginning of the game, like a 90s rock montage that plays at the beginning of it. I think this shot is in, but it is James holding on to someone who I won't spoil in case you haven't played this game. He's the main character, holding on to someone he cares about deeply, and the ceiling is full of the mannequin enemies that you'll come across within the game. And this is pretty cool, actually, if we want to take a peek at this. Look at that OG Xbox controller. That thing is fat. Lots of story in here, lots of interesting imagery based on the game itself and its art style, which I have always adored. That's the main reason why I got into this in the first place, and then I quickly discovered the music, and I thought, okay, I just need to play this game. This game is horrifying and scary and goes deep into the human psyche, for better or worse, as far as what you will see in there. It's a game that means the world to me, and I am better off for having played it. And because I enjoyed Silent Hill 2 so much, and I was getting into emulation at the time, I bought Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 2 for the Japanese copy, and then also Silent Hill 4 in the room. There's also Silent Hill 1 back there somewhere, I can't remember specifically, but these are Japanese imports of PS2 games and PS1 games. I got these not only because they were far cheaper and I wanted the whole collection, but also if you know how to emulate on PS2, if you know how to jailbreak PS2 a little bit, you can get through its region lock and play Japanese imported games on an American produced PS2. Not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not horribly difficult either. And I was just interested in that, so I wanted to play it and check it out. is still my favorite. I've not played much of 4, and 3 was really good as well. But the fact that I have all of the main original Team Silent games is pretty cool, and I am happy about that. Next we have another Japanese-made game. This is the limited edition PS3 version of Dark Souls. I played this when I was 13, I think, and it kicked my ass and I stopped playing it. This was a different version, and then later on I became obsessed with it, I think when I was 16. And then I scoured eBay for this version because I just wanted it. Yeah, because it looks awesome, as you can tell. It has the iconic knights that you fight in the game, the Black Knights. Obviously this is Prepare to Die because this game was obsessed with dying, and that was a great marketing strategy. And within here we have not only the original game that has a cover that I adore. I know some people don't like this, but I think it's cool. But then we also have a little tiny art book that comes with this edition. If we want to take a peek in here. Oh, also in the sleeves it comes with the game soundtrack, which is cool. I love CDs. Look at that. This game's world will forever entice me and make me want to come back and explore it. Oh, look at that guy. Oh, it looks like me in the morning. More creepy dudes. Lots of creepy dudes. Who doesn't love a creepy dude now and then, right? Yeah, all these guys. This guy, very reminiscent of Berserk, which I'm also obsessed with. And Dark Souls is very much based on. Wow, look at that. I haven't actually looked through this in a long time. That's all kind of the gross enemies in the game. And there's the final boss right there. Spoiler, sorry. Yeah, Dark Souls, it's a good one. So good, in fact, that I had to buy this Dark Souls 2 for the 360, the Black Armor Edition. I got this when it came out, so maybe I was... I can't remember how old I was. I don't think I had gotten fully into Dark Souls 1 yet by the time I got this. I'm not entirely sure what enticed me because I didn't like the first one that much, and I guess I was just like, yeah, I want this one. Dark Souls 2 is not the most widely regarded, but it has its fans. Quite a lot of them, in fact, and this is such a cool pop-out steelbook. I'm taken to this one. And this comes with just the game as well as the soundtrack, and a tiny little pamphlet, nothing crazy, but Dark Souls 2. I'm a big Dark Souls fan. This one's not my favorite, but the lore and the music are incredible in it. I think it's the best in the series as far as those two things are concerned. Hitter, the heaviest hitter, the ginormous big box version of Baldur's Gate 3. This thing is ginormous. I'm sure many of you have played this game. It is the biggest thing on the planet still, it feels like, and I love and adore it. I have put like 200 hours into it, and that's nothing compared to some people. This thing is insanely big as far as popularity is concerned, so let's take a peek at what's inside of this, shall we? Because I haven't looked in a long time. I love that this is meant to look like a book that you can rest on your bookshelf. And let me do it this way. First off, we have patches of the factions in the game, which are very cool. I haven't put those on anything yet, obviously. We also have a map of the game, which I might fold out here, we'll see. Then we have lots and lots of stickers. These are the classes. These are chibi versions of all of the characters, which those are a bunch of my rare and interesting video games. I hope you enjoyed this little show and tell. If you have any thoughts about them or any thoughts about me or this setup, please inform me, let me know. I like making this stuff, so with that in mind, I hope you sleep well. I hope this calmed you down a little bit, at the very least. If not, put you to sleep, that'd be awesome. And I will see you in the next one, okay?